Welcome back to NZOWN. Today we are joined by a woman who has been living in Chicago for 2.5 years, but now she's back in New Zealand to promote her brand new album, Tells You to Fight. Renee Louise Carafice, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Now, you've been living in Chicago for 2.5 years. What prompted that move?
Well, I went there to record my album, and that was about 3 years ago. And while I was there, I'd never been to Chicago before, but I just thought, this city is amazing, and I want to live here. I was actually planning to just stay there with a suitcase and never catch the plane home, but I decided to come back here, pack some things, and moved over there. It was more just a gut feeling like this is where I need to be for my own life and also for my music career.
Now, where you are now, living in Chicago, and amongst that community is in stark comparison to where you were at 5 years ago.
Yeah.
A lot of your material is based on your experiences, which you might be able to share a little bit of info with us about.
Yeah. When I was 22 years old, I got institutionalized with terrible depression. And when I was in hospital, I ended up writing a whole bunch of songs, most of which are the songs on this record that's finally being released, with the intention of kind of driving myself towards, making something wonderful out of a terrible situation. And at that point I was thinking, I'm never going to live a normal life again. I'm never going to be able to be happy again. But it's proved itself to be completely wrong.
And with the material that's on the album, do you feel that you've come around full circle, and have been able to portray that in your music?
Pretty much, yeah. I'm still a person who's really fragile. If something goes wrong, I kind of get terrible, but I can build myself up again. I've learned how to deal with it. I think a person who's struggling with depression always has that. It never gets fully cured, you know what I mean? But you learn to deal with it and carry on a really good life despite it, and that's what I've been able to do, and definitely full circle in that respect.
I think it's it's something about many mental illnesses that people don't yet or may not yet fully appreciate, is that when you're in that position, it's hard to see the light at the end of the tunnel. But if you know what it is that is your problem, then you can kind of go, well, actually, I can figure this out. I'm just having a hard time now.
Exactly. If you understand your limitations, my limitations were such that I had like 2 hours a day where I was okay to do anything. The rest of the time I would have to, be in bed or be just completely incapable of doing stuff. But for that 2 hours a day, I used it to do what I really want to do, which is pushing for the music, getting my music out there. And it really worked. You've just got to know your limitations and work around them rather than letting them just destroy everything.
Now, Tells You to Fight is a fantastic way to actually position yourself, because Renee Louise Carafice tells you to fight. Is that the strongest message that comes across on the album, would you say?
Definitely. All of the songs, my songs, I can't write a happy song even if I try. But so they're all quite depressing, and they're all about terrible experiences and quite honestly talking about them. But I think when you do honestly talk about a terrible situation, there's a good side and a bad side. You're not being honest if you make it just dark and miserable. So for me, it was making these songs where it's talking about the truth, but there's always a glimmer of hope in each song of I'm going to escape, or I'm going to ideas of what in the future things are going to be amazing. And I think that would come across if you're listening to the album.
Now, a few years ago, you were the recipient of the Nescafe Big Break competition. What did that actually entail? What did you win, and what did you benefit from that?
They granted me $25,000.
Wow,
yeah, it was amazing. And with that money, I could do whatever I wanted. And I chose to use it to record this record, and it gave me the capacity to be able to do it anywhere in the world where I wanted. We were originally going to do it at Abbey Road,
wow,
but we decided to do it at Electrical Audio in Chicago, which is, pretty much, one of the best analog recording studios in the world.
That's Steve Albini's studio.
Steve Albini's studio, yeah. That was an amazing experience, yeah.
And were you actually working with Steve Albini or some of his other engineers?
He wasn't the engineer. The engineer was a guy called Nick Abbott, who's the engineer for Golden Horse and Pluto and some of the Finn Brothers stuff. So a really capable engineer and a good friend of mine. Girl, boy, don't go acting crazy now. I heard you were thinking of ending it all.
You're saying it's a fully analog studio, one of the best analog studios in the world. Like, how do you think that benefits your particular sound?
Basically, you can hear anything that's been recorded in that one room. If you listen to other things that's been recorded there, they're all really delicious sounding to someone who's listening for it. And my stuff is so kind of intricate, sometimes very quiet and very personal. So it's kind of intended to be listened to quite intimately. And if you're listening to it that intimately, it's nice to have that beautiful sound of the recording studio in there and the feeling of the place I was recording it in too. It gives it an extra special something.
Now, you're going to be having your album release gig at the Hopetown Alpha in Auckland on Wednesday the 30th of July, is that right?
Yep, at 8 p.m.
And you're also playing, playing support for you will be Tim Guy and Bond Street Bridge.
Bond Street Bridge, yeah.
Excellent, nice choices.
Yeah.
Cool, and so for that gig, how much is it to get in?
It's going to be $15 pre-sale from Real Groovy or undertheradar.co.nz. Or you can pay on the door for $20.
And if people want to maybe have a little listen to some of your material, check out some more information about Renee Louise Carafice, I always get your name wrong, how can they do that? If you've got a website, MySpace?
I have a MySpace, yeah. It's www.myspace.com/Renee Louise Carafice. It's spelled Carafice.
Excellent. Well, go and check it out, and go and check this lady out, and we're going to check out, let's just check out. No, we're going to have a look at the video from, first single from the album. Can you pronounce it for me, because I'm going to have trouble?
It's Bodhisattva.
And this is Renee Louise Carafice. You're watching NZOWN.